So late last year, I started manifest journaling. It's the process of writing out your goals as if it's already happened. And one of my statements was, I travel internationally often. And I wrote that statement every day for 100 days, not knowing how I was gonna make that happen for myself. With what coin, to where, how. But again and again and again, I wrote it. Until one 15-hour flight later, I found myself in South Africa completely for free. Hey everyone, I'm Hallease, endeavoring to persevere as always. I'm a filmmaker and storyteller based in Atlanta, Georgia, and apparently a travel influencer. So was South Africa on my bingo card for 2024? Nope. Not at all, not in the slightest, and yet I was there. So if you're someone who is interested in starting to dabble in content creation, specifically in the travel space, in this video, I'm gonna break down how I got this opportunity to go to a brand new country completely for free, and hopefully how you can do the same. So the short answer of how I got to go to South Africa completely for free is I cold pitched myself to the tourism board. The long answer though is this gal. This is Stephanie. She is my lawyer and my manager and also a content creator herself. She has her own channel and following. Now we're here and I'm like, wait a minute, pause. We are in
the richest square mile on the continent.
See, I forgot to say that part. We're in the richest square mile of the continent. She actually reached out to the South African Tourism Board to pitch herself, and in the process also pitched me because she's my lawyer and my manager, and she's really good at being my lawyer and my manager. Now, before you click away, don't click away. I have only had Stephanie as my lawyer and manager for a little over a year. Before that, I was pitching myself to brands and entities. And also likewise, if you're looking at my subscriber following or my Instagram or TikTok following and thinking, oh my goodness, they let her go because she's so much bigger. No, Stephanie got to go on this trip completely for free as well with her own following. And you can see what her numbers are as well. So that being said, here are some tangible ways that you can pitch yourself to a tourism board if you so choose.
The most important rule is that we are not allowed to stand or move between the seats. And this is because the animals does see this car as one object. Now, once we start standing or moving between the seats, we break that shape.
The first thing being, if you don't feel like your numbers are strong, whether those numbers be subscribers, followers, whatever's, then don't lead with those numbers. Lead with the value that you know you can bring to an organization. Are you a great storyteller, for example? Or do you just get really good engagement regardless of your size? Knowing these types of metrics or just touch points about yourself can be really helpful. My next tip is when you do cold pitch yourself via email, most likely, keep it short and succinct and make sure you have a strong next step or a strong call to action. So when I'm cold pitching myself, usually my strong call to action is around actually setting up time, either virtually or in real life, to have like 20-30 minutes of a call of some kind. I usually start off with, hey, here I am. Maybe I include a metric or two. I'm really interested to know what the goals are for your organization for the next year, 2 years, make up a time frame. And I would like to set up some time to talk about those things with you because I'm interested in partnering with you and I wanna make sure I can bring value to you. I wanna make sure we're a good fit. The way I think about it is give and it'll come back to you. I am trying to collaborate with a brand or an organization, and I want to collaborate with them if I believe it's going to be a good fit. So let's have a call so you can tell me what the KPIs are for your institution, and I can figure out if I can create content or if I even just fall into those. I've been on calls with brands and orgs where I was trying to figure out if I was a good fit, and then they told me what their goals were, and it was like, oh, I don't think I am. But I can recommend a couple people to you, you know? So with this opportunity, Stephanie, my manager, learned that the South African Tourism Board was really interested in trying to bring more Americans to the country, more specifically, more Black Americans. So once I learned that, then I was able to go and do a more detailed pitch, putting together my demographics of the people that watch my content, my audience, my reach, etc., to show that indeed I align with their goals. And then once that was put together, they then responded back to me offering me to apply for this press trip that I ended up going on. And I was able to, from the makeshift itinerary that they released, put together what I felt like my content would be based on the itinerary. With the understanding that obviously once I came to the country and went through the things they wanted me to experience, some of the content might change. But overall, I felt like, hey y'all, here's what I'll probably create based on this itinerary that you're showing me.
So we're on a guided gallery tour through Johannesburg by a local artist and creative.
So one thing I'm not interested in doing is gatekeeping the content at all. So I have created this free guide for y'all to download. Check the description box if you're interested. But in it, I cover a lot of things. One of them being, for sure, all the places I stayed while in South Africa, general gists about the country, currency, cell phone service, things like that, that you just kind of want to know. And then also in that guide though, I give 2 template emails of how I tend to cold pitch myself to different brands and organizations. One of them is more brand focused, and then one of them is also more travel focused. If you've already been subscribed to me, then you know one of my goals this year was to revitalize my crusty, dusty, busty, crusty, dusty newsletter, and I've officially done that. So yeah, check out the description box to download the free PDF that I've provided. One thing about this press trip though that really excited me though, because it started to then tap into this manifest journaling thing I was doing of how do I travel to different countries, you know what I'm saying? How do I travel internationally often? This whole press trip that I was on for the South African Tourism Board was built around the Indaba, and it is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, business travel conferences.
All right, so we're on the trade floor.
Largest travel conference in the whole continent.
Largest travel conference in the entire continent. And we just outside.
I think last year there were 25 countries from the continent represented. I don't know how many this is.
So this 3-day business-to-business conference is designed to help you network with other small and medium and large businesses across the travel sector. So this is cool because not only do you get access to South Africa's tourism, but you also get access to a lot of other countries' tourism boards, because one thing about the Travel Indaba is it's not just specific to the country. It's actually many of the other countries on the continent like to have some sort of involvement in the Travel Indaba as well. I highly recommend, if you're someone who's trying to break into the travel content space, you look into going to different business-to-business travel conferences. Apparently there's many across the world, if not the United States. Again, in the PDF that I've created for y'all, the South Africa guide, I made sure to include a few other business-to-business travel conferences and where they happen, links to their websites, etc. She's entering her travel influencer life. Okay? I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere, I'm gone. So all that to say, I went to the Indaba, met with a lot of different organizations, and I'm following up now, setting up follow-up meetings. You know, I'm getting on my Zooms. Get on your Zooms and just being vocal, figuring out time zones, amen, and having those calls. It really is those in-person meetings that can do so much for just getting you in and starting to build a relationship and a rapport with these different institutions. There is really something to just literally going where they are and introducing yourself and leading with the value you offer, asking them questions, vibing, you know what I'm saying? Like, vibing is still a thing in good old business networking. So yeah, for this 16-day press trip to South Africa, I applied and was allowed to go. And in exchange for creating content, yeah, everything was paid for. All I had to cover when I went to South Africa was money for tipping, and you know, if I did souvenir shopping, and there were a few meals that weren't covered. All in all, I spent a total of $500 US while I was there in the country. But something I think is really worth mentioning, if you're looking at this and thinking, oh, I would love to do a press trip, or I would love to do something like this is not a vacation. For reference, I was in South Africa for 16 days, and for those 16 days, I traveled across 6 cities in 4 different provinces and took 6 different flights across the country. A general day for me lasted about 12 to 14 hours, consisting of touring the things they wanted us to tour, seeing the things they wanted us to see. It was 16 days of labor, fun labor I'm more than happy to do. If any other country wants me to come on and do a press tour, sign me up. But labor. This is not a vacation. It is work, because I had to make sure that I was filming everything I could possibly film, pulling from everything I possibly could, so that way I then could feasibly present it to you. And overall for me, this just felt like a once in a lifetime experience, you know? Again, I really had never thought about going to South Africa. And I think that was really just my own naivete as an American, of just thinking, oh, that's just way over there and I can never do that. You know what I mean? But when this opportunity came up, I knew I couldn't pass it up. Like, this was something I just had to like feel the fear, do it anyway, and go. And I'm so grateful that I did. In the comments below, let me know if you have any questions about South Africa or creating travel content in general. Again, I'm Hallease, endeavoring to persevere. As always, if you're new here, I make videos about my chaotic good life. Subscribe, follow social media, all the things. Big shout out to my Patreon producers, patreon.com/Hallease. There you get early access to my videos, exclusive content, merch, and so much more. Again, I'm Hallease, endeavoring to persevere, and I will see you when I see you.